My son God will provide the lamb.
Here's the fire and the wood, but where's the lamb?
Today, we're going to venture into one of the most breathtaking, and let's be honest, one of the most troubling moments in all of Scripture. We're taking a journey together to Mount Moriah, to the place of an absolutely unthinkable test. But before we dive in, I want to ask you a question, a real question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. What is the one thing, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a dream, that you believe you simply cannot live without? Go ahead, get it in your mind. Just let that sit with you for a moment. Now listen to this command. After decades of waiting, of wandering, of messing up and trying again, Abraham finally has him, Isaac, the promised son. And then God speaks, "Take your son," and just feel the way he twists the knife here. "Your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and offer him." You see, this isn't just a test of a father's heart. This is a direct assault on the very promise of God himself. Okay, so let's map out how we're going to unpack this incredible story. First, we're going to grapple with this impossible command. Then we'll walk with Abraham through the sheer agony of his obedience. We'll get to the core question. Is this about the giver or the gift? From there, you'll see how this is a stunning glimpse of the gospel. And we'll finish up with the revelation of the God who provides. So let's be really clear about what's happening. This command isn't just cruel, it seems completely illogical. God had promised Abraham, "I will build a great nation through Isaac." So, if Isaac dies, what happens to the promise? You see the problem? This is a test that attacks not just a father's love, but the very foundation of his faith in God's own word. It just doesn't add up. But you know, the command is only half the story. It's Abraham's response where this thing really takes hold of us. What follows is a 3-day journey into a profound and, frankly, a terrible silence. Now, what's so powerful here is what's not here. There's no dialogue. Think about that. This is the same Abraham who argued with God, the one who pleaded and bargained to save the city of Sodom. But for his own son, nothing. Just a stark, obedient silence. Why? Well, maybe it's because after decades of walking with God, he knew God's character even when he couldn't possibly understand his purpose. You know, true trust isn't always found in our words. Sometimes it's proven by our steps. Can you just imagine this walk? 80 kilometers, that's about 50 miles, for 3 days. Every single step is a step towards his son's execution. Can you feel that psychological torment, the crushing weight of the unspoken truth hanging in the air between a father and his boy with every single mile they cover? This isn't some momentary test of faith, this is a prolonged agony. And then, after days of that heavy silence, a voice. And it asks the most innocent, heart-shattering question imaginable. Isaac. He's just a boy, but he knows the ritual. He sees the wood, he sees the fire, and he asks the one question his father has been dreading. "Dad, where's the lamb?" The tension in that moment, it's almost unbearable. And Abraham's answer, you have to understand this is not just a father trying to comfort his son with a little white lie. No, this is a staggering prophecy, born from the deepest part of his faith. He doesn't know how, he doesn't know when, but he speaks into existence the very nature of the God he serves. God himself will provide. So this brings us right to the central question. Why? I mean, why would God even command this? He's all-knowing, right? He already knows what's in Abraham's heart. To get it, we have to uncover the true purpose of this test. And it really comes down to one thing: allegiance. You see, Isaac was the gift, the long-awaited miraculous gift from God. But had the gift over time become more precious than the giver? Had Abraham's love for the promise itself eclipsed his love for the one who made the promise? This test wasn't for God's information. It was for Abraham. It was for us. It was designed to reveal what truly sat on the throne of his heart. And when the angel stops Abraham's hand, he says, "Now I know that you fear God." Now that word fear here, it doesn't mean terror. It's not about being scared of punishment. It means you have rightly ordered your world. It means you honor God as supreme by proving your willingness to surrender even the most precious thing you have right back to him. It's an act of profound worship. And now we arrive at what might just be the theological climax of this entire story. Because what happened on that mountain wasn't just about a father and a son. It was a divine drama. Many theologians call it the gospel in the Old Testament, a shadow pointing to a far, far greater reality that was still to come. Just look at these parallels. They're breathtaking. A father offers his only beloved son. It happens on Mount Moriah, which is the very same region where Jerusalem and Golgotha would one day stand. The son carries the wood for his own sacrifice, just as Jesus would carry his own wooden cross. The son submits willingly, without a fight, and then there's this. Abraham receives his son back, metaphorically, from the dead on the third day of their journey. It's a direct foreshadowing of the resurrection. The parallels aren't just close, they are absolutely staggering.
And in the end, what does Abraham see? A ram, caught by its horns in a thicket, a crown of thorns, if you will, ready to be offered instead of his son. Right here on this mountain, the bedrock principle of salvation is laid down: substitution. The one who was condemned to die is spared, because an innocent takes his place.
And this brings us to the great revelation of the story. You see, the reward for this agonizing obedience wasn't just getting his son back. No, it was gaining a new, profound understanding of the very character of God himself. Abraham names that place Jehovah Jireh, which means the Lord will provide. But here's the insight that can change everything for us. The provision was already there. That ram was in the thicket before Abraham even raised the knife. But he couldn't see it from the bottom of the mountain. He had to make the journey. He had to climb that summit of obedience to finally witness the provision that God had prepared all along. So, as we wrap this up, what do we take away from Mount Moriah? I think there are three big things. First, faith is not some passive theory we debate. It's an active adventure we have to live out. It's found in that 3-day walk. Second, God's generosity will always outgive our sacrifice. Abraham offered his son, but God the Father offered his. And finally, it forces us to turn the mirror on ourselves and ask that tough question: what is the Isaac in my life? What gift has become so precious that it now stands between me and the giver? Let's end with this thought. On that mountain, God asked Abraham to mirror what he himself would one day do for every one of us. God revealed his own heart, his own image, by offering his son. So the question for you and for me is this: what Isaac, what precious person, what dream, what possession must you be willing to place on the altar so that his image might be more truly and beautifully revealed in you?
Abraham, Abraham, do not lay your hand on the boy.
Here I am.
A ram is provided in his place.